So hello and welcome back to Fisher Academy. So today we are going to do second part in the reproduction in plants. And in the previous lecture, we have talked about different parts of plant, right? We talked about the different female and male reproductive parts, right? So can you tell me what are the female reproductive parts? Let's do little revision before we start.
What, ma'am?
What are the different female reproductive parts? Female reproductive parts.
Female reproductive part. Ma'am, female reproductive parts of a pistils.
Yes. And under pistil?
Stigma.
Yes. Under stigma you have
Under
pistil, you have got stigma and
under pistil ovary and inside ovary ovules.
yes, very good. And we have got style also, right?
Yeah.
Now, similarly, what are the male reproductive parts?
What, ma'am?
Male reproductive parts.
Male reproductive parts are stamen
Yes.
and the filament.
Okay. And
And filament and
under semen, what else we have?
what, one?
Inside the semen, what are the other parts?
Inside the stamen, what are the other parts?
Yes.
Inside the stamen, there are anther.
Yes. And inside the anther?
Inside the anther.
We have got pollens.
Yeah. Anther.
Okay. So that's all for revision. Now we'll proceed. Okay. So now we are going to talk about the pollination. So what is pollination? It is the transfer of pollen grains from the anthers to the stigma. Okay. So in this itself, we have talked about cross-pollination and we have also discussed about the self-pollination. Can you tell me the difference between the cross-pollination and self-pollination?
Pollination and self-pollination.
Cross-pollination and self-pollination.
Ma'am, cross-pollination means that when the agents of pollination take pollen grains from one plant to another plant, that's called cross-pollination.
Very good. And self-pollination?
Self-pollination occurs when the agents from one plant to another plant.
I could not hear. Can you repeat? Self-pollination means?
Self-pollination means when the agents of pollination take the pollen grains from one part to another part.
Yes, that is happening on the same flower itself. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we have got different pollinating agents like insects and wind. Okay, so insects like honeybees are there, wasps are there. So all these different butterflies, they are also responsible for your pollination, right? Wind is there. We have water also. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's see the difference between insect pollination and the wind pollination of the flowers. Okay. So we'll talk about each slowly. Okay. So first, let's talk about the insect pollination. So they have got large colored petals with guidelines. Okay. Now, can you tell me why the insect pollinated flowers are having so beautiful colored petals? Can you tell me the reason why?
Colored petals.
So like we have got so many beautiful flowers, right? So whenever you have got any colored flowers or any beautiful color flowers are there, then the pollinator agent is always insects. It cannot be pollinated by wind and water. Why? Why they have got the beautiful petals? Why some flowers are so beautiful? No idea?
No, ma'am.
It is because to attract the insects towards itself. See, you don't need water and wind, air to get attracted, right? They are just natural. Whereas in the case of the insects, if it is more beautiful, then only that insect will come towards that particular flower. Now you got the answer. So that's why few flowers, they have got very beautiful color. Okay. So they have got large colored petals with the guidelines. They have the scent. So that's why few flowers you can see beautiful and very nice smell comes from that. They have a nectary on which insects feed. Scent means smell.
Okay.
Okay, khushbu. They have a nectary on which insects feed. So remember in the previous lecture we have mentioned about the nectary that is below the ovary. You have got the nectary. And inside the nectary you have got the nectar. So these honeybees, butterflies, they take this nectar and then convert them into honey. Okay.
Can you repeat what you said?
Okay. So I was saying that in the previous lecture we have discussed that in the flower, okay, we have discussed that below the ovary, inside the ovary we have got ovules. Okay.
Yeah.
Below ovary there is something called nectary. Inside the nectary you have got nectar. It's kind of juice. Okay, it is the sweet juice of the flower. So this nectar is taken by the honeybees.
Okay.
And then they convert this honey. Then these honeybees, they take this nectar and convert them into honey. Okay. Now this is third point. Fourth point, they have a sticky stigma for pollen grains to stick on it. Now, why they have got this sticky stigma? Because the moment the butterflies or honeybees, any insects comes onto the flower, so whatever pollens which are attached to the insect, they should come and get stick to the stigma of the flower, and that's why they have got this sticky stigma. Okay. So of course the female and male organs are enclosed inside the flower, like already we have discussed. Pollen grains are larger with spikes to hold on to the insect body. So what does it mean? It means your pollen grains will look like this. It will have spikes. So these spikes, okay, these spikes will get attached onto the insect body. So over here they get attached. So whenever this insect is sitting on any flower, so from there the pollens will stick to the stigma.
Okay.
Okay. Clear?
Yeah.
So insect pollinated flowers, they have the large colored petals with guidelines. They have the scent. Scent means smell. Okay. Nice smell will come from those flowers, like roses are there, lilies are there, right? Then they have a nectary on which insects feed. They have a sticky stigma for pollen grains to stick on it. The female and male organs are enclosed in the flower, and pollen grains are larger with spikes to hold on to the insect body. So right now what we have discussed is about the insect pollinated flowers. Okay. Now let's talk about the
Mom. Then can you explain the last point of the insect pollinated flowers?
This one, the pollen grains are larger with spikes.
Yeah.
So usually pollen grains which are present. See, we know that this is filament, this is stamen. Okay, this is entire thing stamen. In the stamen, we have got the anther. This is your anther. Now, onto the anther, you
Yeah.
have got the pollen grains. So these pollen grains look something like this, round. Okay, the
Yeah.
shape is almost round. But if it is insect pollinated flowers, the instead of round, they are going to be spiky. Okay, like this.
Okay.
Instead of round, they will have structures like this. Now, if it is spiky, see, if it is round, then what will happen? Onto the insect body, the chances of sticking will be less. They might fall off from the insect body, right? If it is sticky in shape, if it
Yeah.
is sticky shape, so the attachment to the insect body will be easy, right? So whenever insect is flying to one flower to another flower, the chances of the pollen grains to stick onto the insect body will be high. So that whenever it is sitting on another flower, that time the pollen can come out of the insect body and fall onto the flower. Now it's clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So just go through once, read all the points and just see whether you understand or not. So just read yourself, Siddhi, insect pollinated flowers, all the points just read yourself. Read loudly so that I can also hear.
Have large colored petals with guidelines.
Yeah.
Have a scent. Have a nectary on which insects feed. Have a sticky stigma for pollen grains to stick on it. The female and male organs are enclosed in the flower. The pollen grains are larger with spikes to hold on insect body.
Okay, very good. So now all the points are clear to you.
Ma'am, can you just explain the fourth one again? The female and male organs are enclosed in
See,
the flower.
in the previous lecture we discussed, right? So you have got like this. Your stigma cell is there. What is female organ which is responsible? The ovules. It is inside, right? It is inside the flower. That means it is enclosed.
Okay.
Okay. Same way with your male part also. So male, we know it is having the stamen, but the pollens are inside the anther. When you open the anther, then only you can see the pollens, right? So even that is enclosed. So enclosed means it is closed inside the flower structure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once this is clear, then only wind pollinated flowers will become easy to understand.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the wind pollinated flowers. So they have got small green petals, no guidelines. So wind pollinated means you don't need any wind or air to attract any flower, right? So they are just blowing. It is natural. So if there is a wind, there will be pollination happening. If there is no wind, no pollination will happen. Okay, so it is totally natural. So they have got these small petals. Okay, no scent, because even if it has got scent in the wind, it is going to be diffused. No nectarine, because we don't want any insect to be attracted. They have a feathery stigma to catch the pollen in the air part. Now, what do you mean by feathery stigma? So the stigma will be on the top. See, if suppose you have got a flower like this, your stigma will be open. Okay, usually what happens, you have got a petals like this and stigma will be over here. But when it is wind pollinated, you are going to have stigma open. Okay, and this will be like a feather, like it should go with the flow of the wind. So what will happen on the wind, these pollens will be there. So these pollens will, there are chances that with the wind, these pollens will come and attach to the stigma of the flower. Okay, from the wind. Okay. So the female and male organs are hanging outside the flower. So this is your female part which is hanging outside. It is not inside the flower, right? Your petals and sepals will be on outer side. Now, pollen grains are smaller and lightweighted to be carried by wind. Yes, so pollen grains are going to be very, very lightweighted, very, very small, so that whenever there is a little wind, it is able to carry the pollen grains from one portion to the another portion of the path. Okay, so that's how
Yeah.
the wind is helping in the pollination of the flower. So clear to you?
Ma'am, can you please explain the last 2 points?
This one, these two, the female and male organs.
Yeah.
See, in the previous lecture, we discussed that we have got flower like this. So you had
Yeah.
stigma coming out like this. It was enclosed inside the petals. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
when we have got wind pollinated flowers, their stigma will be open like this. Okay. And the
Yeah.
petals are going to be downwards.
Okay.
Something like this. Okay. And then you will have your sepals and stem and leaves like this. So what you see is that petals will be downside and your stigma will be up. Okay. Now, pollen grains are smaller and light-weighted. So usually in this case, you can have big pollens because those are carried out by the insects. Whereas in the case of the wind pollinated, it has to be very, very small because it needs to be carried out by the wind. If suppose that pollen grains are heavy, then wind cannot carry, right? Because it is going to be very heavy, wind cannot carry. So it needs to be very lightweighted, very, very lightweighted. Okay, so that whenever there is a wind, it can just flow along with the wind. And if suppose there are any flowers waiting for the pollination, those flowers can carry the pollens from the wind. Okay, now it is clear.
Okay. Yes, now it's clear.
Okay, so just read once yourself the wind pollinated flower.
Have small green petals, no guidelines, have no scent, have no nectary, have a feathery stigma to catch the pollen in the air. The female and male organs are hanging outside the flower. Pollen grains are smaller and light-weighted to be carried by wind.
Yes. Okay, so now it's clear to you. Everything, each point is clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's then proceed then. Now, pollen grains are seen under the microscope. So, have you seen the microscope anytime in your school or anywhere in the museum? Have you seen the microscope?
Yes, I have seen.
You have seen, right? So, if suppose you're using microscope and if you see under the microscope the structure of the pollen grains, then you will see that they have got something like this. Okay. Now, look at the structure over here. So now the question is, can you tell which belongs to insect pollinated flowers and which belongs to the wind pollinated flowers? So what do you think will be the answer?
Ma'am,
This is one type of pollen
that
grains. This is another. Let's give the number 1 and 2. So now you tell me which one is for insect pollinated, which one is for wind pollinated.
ma'am, I think the second one, wind pollinated. I think the second one is wind pollinated and the first one is insect pollinated.
Are you sure about it?
Yeah.
Why you think the answer is like this? So you have said that insect pollinated means 1 and wind pollinated means 2, right?
Yeah, because the wind pollinated seems to be a little lightweight.
Okay, and but we just now discussed that the insect pollinated pollens should have spiky. It should have spikes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now what do you think?
It is second one.
Yeah. So this is not correct. Okay. So the correct answer is that this one is for your wind and this one is for your insect. Okay. Because they have got spikes. I know by looking at this, the structures of the pollens, this one looks very smaller, right? But the important point over here is that these spiky ones pollen are always for your insect pollinators, because there are thousands and thousands of flowers. They are going to have different pollen grains, right? So depending on the structure, you can actually understand like which one is going for your insect pollinated and which one is for your wind pollinated. So the main thing is that it should have spikes for your insect pollinated flowers. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the fertilization. So it is the joining or fusion of male and female cells to produce a zygote. Okay. So what happens later is that when the zygote is formed, in this ovary later will become the fruit, ovary wall will become the fruit cover, and the ovules, they become the seed. Okay. So this is really very important because
Ma'am,
every
can you
time.
explain again?
Yes. See, remember in the previous lecture we said that the pollens comes and sit onto the top of the stigma.
Yeah. And the pollen tube takes it to
Yes.
the ovary.
And then the pollen tubes are formed and reaches the ovary, right? So the
Yeah.
pollen tube is also carrying the nucleus, and your
Okay.
ovary is also having the nucleus. So these nucleus will fuse together to form the zygote. Okay. So zygote means it is the fusion of male and female cells. Male and female cells, when they combine together, they form a zygote. Okay. So in humans, the zygote will result into the formation of human baby. Okay.
Yeah.
In the plants, it is going to result in the formation of fruit. Okay. Now, this is the ovary. So ovary, the entire thing is going to become the fruit which we eat. This ovary wall is the fruit cover. Like sometimes you see banana has got the, the layer which you peel off and eat. Even mango has got its green color cover. So those are nothing but the ovary wall. And the seed which you find inside the mango, it is the ovule. Okay. So let us take the example of this only. So you have got the mango. Okay. So the layer, this layer is the fruit cover, what you see on the top. Inside what we eat is your ovary, fruit which we eat.
Can you explain again?
Okay, one second, let me remove everything. So let's say that, let's talk about the mango. Okay, let's take the yellow, the ripened mango over here.
Yeah.
So we know that the mango has got the yellow covering, which we remove,
Yeah.
right? So that is your fruit cover, okay?
Yeah.
Which has formed from the ovary wall. What is ovary wall?
Yeah.
This one is your ovary wall, okay?
Yeah. Remember that ovary wall is the fruit cover.
No. Fruit cover is the ovary wall. In future, it will become the fruit cover. In future, when the fruit is formed from the flower. Okay. Now the ovary, this ovary, what we see is the fruit which we eat, the pulp we eat in the mango. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you have got the ovules over here, right?
Yeah.
So that becomes the seed, and in the mango we have got the seed which we throw sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it is clear. So it is the ovule in future which becomes the seed of the fruit.
Okay.
Huh? Now it's clear to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you explain?
Yeah. So in a fruit, the outer cover of the fruit is the ovary, and the pulp inside the fruit is the ovary wall, and the seed inside.
Fruit, the pulp is the ovary. The cover is the ovary wall.
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah. The pulp. Yeah. The pulp inside the fruit is the ovary, and the seed inside the
And
seed inside the ovary is the ovule.
yes, yes, yes. So it's clear now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now, steps of flower fertilization. So the pollen lands from stigma. It is called what? What is that process known as? Whenever a pollen grain.
Fertilization.
No. It is called pollination.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fertilization means it is the fusion of male and female gametes. Okay. So whenever pollen
Female.
lands on stigma, it is called pollination. Okay. Then you know that after that, pollen tube grows down the style of the pistil and into the ovary. So here you can see this are the pollen, right? So pollen tube is formed and slowly it is going down into the ovary. So it crosses through the style of the pistil and then it goes into the ovary. Now what happens inside the ovary? The pollen and the ovules fuse together to form a zygote. Okay, and that process is called fertilization. So pollen is your male part and ovules are your female part, right?
Female.
So when they fuse together, the process is called fertilization. Okay. Then in future, this fertilization, fertilized ovule, or sometimes in textbook it is given as zygote, it is forming the seed. So it results in the formation of your seeds. Then ovary containing seeds will swell and later will ripen into a fruit.
Swell means?
Swell means they start becoming thick and fat.
Okay.
Otherwise, what will happen? All of our fruits will be very small in size if they don't swell up. Okay.
Yeah.
It's clear? Now, you explain me the process.
Yeah. When the pollen tube reaches the ovary, then the pollen and the ovules fuse together. Means that the female, the male gamete and the female gamete fuse together to form a zygote, and that process is called fertilization. When the fertilized ovules, the fertilized ovules results in forming seeds, and then the seed swells up and forms plant, and in that plant fruit.
Yes. So finally, after swelling up, it results in the formation of your fruit. So fruit means it is coming from the ovary. Remember always. Okay. So fruit means ovary. Fruit cover means ovary cell wall. And seed means ovules. Okay. So always remember just now what we have discussed. Okay. Okay. So look at this figure now. So right now what we are going to learn is the seed formation. So how exactly the seeds are formed. So just look at this structure now, this figure.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see the similarity between the flower as well as the tomato? And one more thing, tomato does not come under vegetable. It comes under the fruit category. Always remember. Okay. Now, see the similarity over here. So you have got the flower over here. This one is your flower and this one is your fruit. Okay. So now what do we see in the similarities?
Similarities, it has.
Look at this structure, this particular structures. Yes, of course, they have got the sepals. Both are having the sepals are there. And the peduncle is there, okay, which the pedicel we were talking about in the previous lecture, right? So those are remaining. Rest all petals and petals will be falling off. The petals, right? So these petals will fall off whenever fruit is formed. Now look at the figure carefully, and you see that this particular portion, that is the ovary, is very much similar to your fruit, right? If you see the arrangement of the ovules inside the ovary,
Yeah.
it is very much similar to your fruit seeds arrangement. Okay. So in this figure, you
Yeah.
can see that
In
this
the
particular
middle.
thing, yeah. So this particular thing, the ovary becomes your tomato fruit, and inside the ovule arrangement is nothing but your seeds. Look at the figure now carefully, and then you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you able to relate?
Yeah.
So now looking at the flower, we
Yeah.
can always tell, or maybe we can look at the fruit and we can tell, okay, yeah, so they both are from the same plant, right? So looking at the arrangement of the
Yeah.
ovary and the fruit, you can say that they belong to the same plant, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the
Yeah, ma'am.
larger image now. So here we are just discussing about the fruits and seed formation, right? So you have got the flower
Yeah.
over here, and we have got the fruit also. So just imagining
Yes.
that once the fertilization happens, okay. So what happens is that when fertilization is happening, so your ovules will result into the formation of seeds. So if you see this arrangement of the ovules over here, the arrangement of seeds are same. This particular portion, if you see, it is same, right? And this outer
Yeah,
cover,
ma'am. It's same.
yeah. So the ovary, which this portion they talked about, the ovary over here is nothing but that forms your tomato. So what exactly when we cut tomato and eat is actually the ovary and the ovules are the part which we eat. Rest all your peduncle and sepal, we don't use it, right? So we remove those. So whenever now in future, whenever you eat tomato, just remember that you're eating actually the ovary as well as the ovule. Clear now?
Yeah.
This figure is clear to you?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's see how exactly the seeds are formed. So this is little bit complicated. Listen carefully, but it is easy to understand. Okay. So this slide is going to summarize everything what all we have discussed till now. So we saw that in the plant you have got the female part. So this is your female part, right? And then
Yeah.
these are your male part, right? So we have got the pistil, ovaries, pistil over here, ovaries, and stigma, and stamen over here. You can see over here stamens are also there. So in the figure, when you see, you have got the one female part and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 male parts are there.
Yeah.
And on this 4 male parts, stamen, you can see anthers are there. And on the anthers, you can see so many pollen grains are there. So if you take one pollen grain under the microscope, you can see this is how it looks. So how does it look? It again has got these spikes, right?
Spikes.
So it means
pollinated.
yes, it is
Insect
insect pollinated. Good. Now what happens is that so once these pollen grains sit on the stigma, the pollen tube is formed, right? You can see so many pollens are there, pollen tubes are formed.
Yeah.
This pollen tube will carry the nuclei, the sperm nuclei. This nuclei goes and fuses with the egg nucleus. So you have got the ovules over here. This is the ovary part. Inside you have got the ovules. Yes. So what happens is that these pollen tubes carry the sperm nucleus. Nucleus means they carry the DNA of the male father, okay? Nucleus means they carry the DNA, the genetic material, okay? Is it clear? Or maybe you can just remember the nuclei word, okay?
Okay. Nuclei.
So they are the male part, okay? Then they fuse with the female part. Female part means egg nucleus. Over here pollen, over here it is egg or the ovule. So they combine together. So now what is happening? On combining, they form the zygote. Okay. So once the zygote is formed, they start developing into the seed.
What combines?
The
Can
male
you
and the
repeat
female.
what
Male and the female part. So male from the pollens,
Okay.
and female means the egg. Sometimes they write egg or sometimes they write as the ovule. Okay, so don't get confused. It's the same thing. Okay. So male means they are talking
But
about pollen.
what's that green?
This one
But what's that green part?
here.
Yeah.
So this means male and female part has fused. They have fertilized. That's why they have shown the green color. Okay. This is one ovule onto which the fertilization has occurred. Okay, fertilization ho gaya hai. So now it has formed zygote. Endosperm
Okay.
nucleus means this endosperm provides nutrition to the seed. Endosperm function is to provide nutrition. Okay, just remember this much. So finally, when the zygote is formed, now this will result into the formation of your seed. Okay, so this is your seed. Now you have got the embryo, seed coat, endosperm. Endosperm function is to provide nutrition. Seed coat means, you know, it is the cover of the seed. Inside embryo is there. So this embryo means if you provide water, if you provide fertilization, right? Fertilizer, then the seed will result into the formation of a young plant.
Okay.
Clear? So inside the seed, we have got the embryo, seed coat, and endosperm. So we'll study about seed in detail in the next class. For now, just remember that seed has got embryo, seed coat, and endosperm. The function of endosperm is to provide nutrition. The function of seed coat is to provide protection to the embryo. Endosperm provides nutrition to the embryo inside the seed. If you provide water, and other nutrition, then only the seed will germinate. We'll discuss all this. Okay. After germination, it will result into the new plant. Okay. So this is how your entire fertilization and seed forms.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
That the fusion part of male and female gamete process happens in a ovule only, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And inside the ovule, there are these particles, no?
Yes. These small, what you see over here. So these are present. So it's okay if you're not able to remember these right now. But anyways, in future, maybe in your higher sections, like 6th or 7th standard, you're going to study the same, like the more extra things. Okay. So now, if anyone is asking about the formation of seed, so what are you going to talk about in the formation of seed? That during pollination, the pollen grains will fall on the stigma, then they form the pollen tubes. Okay. Now, the pollen grains can be transferred via insects or wind. Okay. Now, once these pollen tubes are formed, these pollen tubes will carry the male reproductive cell or the gametes. Sometimes it is written as male gamete or they have written as pollen gamete. So whatever, it is the same thing. Okay. Then they go and reaches the ovules, which is inside the ovary. Now, once they go inside the ovary and fuses with the ovule, fertilization will happen. What is fertilization? Fusion of male and female gametes. Okay.
Male and female gametes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So once this fusion happens, it results in the formation of your zygote.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Later, this zygote will result into the formation of your seed.
Seed. Yeah. And then the seed will form a plant.
Yes, very good. Okay, so in short, what we can say is that, so whenever this is happening, whenever your seeds are forming, the sepals, these the petals and the petals will fall off. You don't need now petals whenever seeds are formed. Now sepal will wither. Wither means they will start shrinking. Okay, so that's why we saw so such a big tomato was there, but the sepals were very small. Green color sepals were very small. Okay, so they start shrinking, and then petals will fall off. Okay, slowly, what will happen? See, once the seed is formed, sorry, not here. Once the seed is formed, later the stigma, the stamen, they all will become dry and they will fall off. Because now, since the seed is formed, it is not required now, no more required, right? Then later, ovary will develop into the fruit. So ovary will become your fruit, ovules will become your seed, right? And this ovary cover will become your fruit cover.
Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just go through the image once and tell me if it is clear to you.
Yeah.
The entire figure is clear to you now. Now, can you explain me from the
Yes,
beginning?
Yeah.
Start from
When
here.
they, yeah, there are many parts: flower, style, stigma. They come in pistil and sepals, petals, and there are anthers, filaments that come under stamen. So when the pollen tubes from the stamen, when the pollen grains from the stamen reach the stigma, the pollen tubes carry the pollen grains to the ovules, and from the ovules, the male and the female gamete fuse together and form a cell called zygote. So this process is called fertilization. Later the zygote results in forming a seed, and then a seed forms a plant.
Yes, yes. So on germination, the seed will form the plant. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so that's all for today. If any other doubt is there, you can ask me now.
No, ma'am, no.
Yeah?
I have a doubt that what is the function of sperm nuclei?
Okay, sperm nuclei is nothing but your see, nuclei means it is called DNA. Okay, DNA. Maybe you have not studied right now. So they actually carry when they fuse together, then only a what to say, offspring or a baby is formed. Okay, so DNA is very important. It is the genetic material. So when you say sperm nuclei, it means it is your male gamete. Okay. So whenever you see any other image, like if you put into the Google also in your textbook, so maybe in your textbook it is written as male gamete. But if you see any other textbook, instead of male gamete, it is written sperm nuclei. So this is egg nucleus. This is nothing but your female gamete. Okay, it is just the different words they have used. So just don't get confused. Okay. So sperm nuclei means male gamete. Egg nucleus means female gamete. So when they fuse together, you get a zygote.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we'll meet on the next lecture, and then we'll talk about more about the seed. So right now we have discussed about the seed formation. In the next lecture, we'll talk about the seed structure. Okay, what are the different parts of the seed structure, etc. Okay.
Okay.